it's been a depressing recent couple of months. Not just for me personally, but for the country and the world at large. And with things only seeming to get worse day after day, it's more important than ever to keep those spirits up. So to channel those good vibrations, I decided to pick up the manga series, Goodnight Poon Poon. And before you go to the comments and say, "Oh Hunter, this is one of the most depressing mangas I've ever read. Hunter, this manga has religious fanaticism and sexual assault and all sorts of depressing topics in there. Hunter, this manga made me want to literally unalive myself." Listen, because I personally think this is one of the funniest mangas I've ever read. No, seriously. Here's why.
What's funny? What's funny? What's funny? What's funny? What's funny? What's funny?
There's multiple elements of this manga that I want to tackle today, but the biggest argument I have for why Goodnight Poon Poon is actually a comedy is because of its character designs. To start with, the design of Poon Poon and his family is nothing short of ridiculous. Despite being canonically human, Poon Poon is depicted as a near featureless, flightless bird. There's no in-universe explanation as to why. Maybe that's how he views himself, maybe because early on he thinks about flying away into space. All I know is that his design looks vastly more appealing compared to the sea of ugly-ass children and adults he's constantly surrounded by. His expressions stand out even more, being a walking cartoon and all. When he laughs, his nose rapidly moves up and down. When he's nervous, sweat pours out of him at an alarming rate. And any direct interaction with another non-bird character looks goofy as hell. I mean, this girl kissing a bird just looks incredibly silly. There are also plenty of times where elements of Poon Poon and his family are drawn hyper-realistically while still looking bird-like. His uncle, also depicted as a bird, often has incredibly detailed eyes and hands in more intense emotional situations. The contrast between these two elements only grows over time, which, in my opinion, makes it even funnier. A bird contemplating suicide with those eyes could only be seen as comedic, am I right? The plus side of having a character like Poon Poon designed this way is that it allows for very obvious and funny changes as they grow and evolve. Poon Poon's form changes quite a bit over the course of the series. He goes from full bird to bird with long hair to tetrahedron to human body with bird head to four eyes to black with devil horns as he becomes more and more tormented with the hell that is his life and the depravity he embraces in every single moment. Sure, maybe he looks a little less funny after he gets involved in the murder of his longtime crush's mother, but there are still moments here and there where he's got that classic Poon Poon look. And I should point out that this concept of humorous character design doesn't just apply to the main character. Early on, it's clear that Inio Asano wants to make the average person as ugly as possible. Whereas most mangakas attempt to make even the background characters somewhat appealing, Asano opts to make them as terrifying as possible. I mean, Jesus Christ, look at that guy. And this one. And this one. That one. That one. What the fuck is up with all these people? They all look so demented, it's almost comical. You see what I'm getting at? One of the most insane character design choices I've seen in a manga comes in the form of God. He appears to Poon Poon throughout the manga as some image of a random dude smiling while verbalizing the most heinous, intrusive thoughts you've ever heard. And every time he appears, it gets a chuckle out of me. He'll often pop up through a window like he's stalking Poon Poon. His dialogue is visually designed for maximum impact, at times blowing Poon Poon off his feet like a fucking piece of paper. He also largely has one static expression, which is also funny, but when he changes his expression in key moments, it's even funnier. I mean, just look at this panel suggesting murder, and this one suggesting rape. Aren't they side-splittingly funny? Right, guys? Wait, why are you running away? One of the side characters, Shimizu, also interacts with his own god, a crudely drawn pile of poop for a head on a normal human body flying around in a badly drawn spaceship. This dude is a riot. He keeps appearing long after Shimizu has grown up and people have told him he's mentally disturbed for even thinking about this, but it's never not funny when he when he pops up. Obviously, the character designs are just one part of what makes this manga so goddamn funny. So let's move on to the panel designs. But before we get there, if you've liked what you've seen, don't forget to subscribe. It lets me know you want to see more of my content and lets you know when new videos of mine drop. You could be the first to see high quality content like Ring fruit. You want to drain people like liquids? Let's watch. Let's see what it looks like. Anyway, let's get back to the video. Goodnight Poon Poon has some of the funniest panels I've ever seen in a manga. which is saying a lot considering I've done multiple extremely long videos on some of the funniest manga currently releasing. But what sets this manga apart is Asano's use of the abstract. Early on, Poon has multiple moments where his emotions transcend reality. When his heart beats faster and he feels like he's gonna fly away, he's actually depicted flying away. When a girl tells him that she likes him, a grayscale rainbow of Poons fly out of his eyes. And when he devises a plan to earn money to run away with said girl, this incredibly detailed abstract art appears in his eye. I mean, tell me you don't laugh at Need to Pee. You can't. Even as Poon grows up and becomes emotionally distant, there are still these moments of humor in the abstract. Like when Poon and said girl are on the run after killing said girl's mother and have nothing to live for, there's panels where he continues to exude humor as potent as ever. Tell me this isn't peak humor. Look, I understand that this revelation is a hard pill to swallow. When something gets incorrectly labeled as soul-crushing for as long as it does, it's hard for people to accept the truth. You might be thinking, yeah, sure, the panel designs and character designs might look a little funny at times, but there's no way the plot could be construed as humorous in any way. Wrong. At its core, Goodnight Poon is about a guy trying to get with a girl. You know what else is about a guy trying to get with a girl? Rom-coms. From the first time Poon meets fellow classmate Aiko, it's love at first sight. But being 11, he doesn't know the first thing about love. He comes up with one of the most naive schemes to impress her, claiming he's going to discover his own planet, win the Nobel Prize, and live on the planet with her. So innocent. These thoughts of being with her leads him to a classic situation every tween and teenage boy encounters. I can't show the panels of the act for obvious reasons, but his response to finishing the job kills me. My brain squirted out of my wiener. Nichijou would never. Mainly because it's centered around girls, but that's besides the point. When he asks his uncle for advice on how to deal with his leaky brain, he gives him medical books that allow Poon's imagination to run even more wild. Poon's early discovery into the world of sex is by far the funniest part of this manga, but there were other story beats that had me just beside myself. The parallel story about the Pegasus Ensemble, despite seeming dark, manages to stay amusing all the way to its fiery conclusion. Early on, this Steve Aoki-looking dude claims that the world will end due to dissonant chords of the universe and a bunch of crazy shit that honestly doesn't make any sense except to him and the 12 people he manages to assemble throughout the rest of the manga. What makes this dude so funny despite his cultish tendencies is his slogan of good vibrations. It just makes him sound like a stoner and makes it all the more funny and definitely not sad when these other people buy into it. All I can think of when he's waving his wand around is the fucking Beach Boys. There's also a moment where it looks like he gets domed in the head like some opper tagged him from across the map. And as if this story wasn't funny enough, eventually the poop god becomes part of this cult whenever loner Shimizu joins up. Seeing him float around in the background as Pegasus rants about the apocalypse is a very funny juxtaposition. As long as you don't think about how he leads multiple people to their mass suicide, which may or may not have saved the world, this plotline can only give the goodest of vibes. Even the end of Poon and Aiko had me in stitches. To skip over a lot of plot, Poon and Aiko don't see each other for several years. They only happen to meet up by coincidence when Poon and Aiko find out that they're taking the same driving school. This girl he's obsessed over, his first love, the girl he said he'd kill himself in 2 years if he didn't find, is right next to her. His freak out is legendary. "It's Aiko!" blares in his mind. His demeanor regresses to that of an early teen. After all this time, he's just as awkward as ever. Never mind that he now sees himself as some four-eyed monster who attempts to sleep with her against her will. This is comedy at its finest. Dude, I'm almost done. Anyway, despite the sexual assault, Aiko and Poon finally become a couple. How cute. There's just one little problem. Her mom. I mean, she got way too deep into that Pegasus stuff and beats her daughter every night. Classic mom stuff, am I right? Bro, stop interrupting. So what sort of wacky scheme do they come up with to get out from her oppressive rule? Poon chokes her to death, of course. I mean, just seeing God say, "Good morning, Poon," had me on the floor laughing. That's not the title. It's so silly, man. The shenanigans only continue as they go on the run while Aiko and Poon Poon slowly die from their injuries from this mom incident. In my opinion, the funniest part is that they think they could get away with this, but Aiko finally realizes, and that's when she hangs herself.
Dude, stop.
What? What's so important? Can't you see I'm in the middle of something? Why the fuck are you even back here?
I thought you left.
You just seemed like you needed me. This isn't funny, man.
I know.
Then why the fuck are you pretending it is?
Well, because if I don't, then people will just think I'm depressed.
And you're not?
Well, yeah, but they'll think I actually enjoy being miserable by reading this depressing shit. Of course I don't enjoy being miserable, but is it still okay for me to enjoy reading and talking about stories like this?
But how do you know this doesn't make you miserable?
I don't, but whether it's reading this or reading something super uplifting, at the end of the day, I still feel like the world is largely out of my control.
So what's your point?
I'm getting there, if you'd let me.
You're really joking at a time like this.
Look, I'm not saying that the author Inio Asano set out to make a humorous slice of life manga like Azumanga Daioh or Yotsuba or Nichijou or whatever and failed miserably. It's very clear from the first chapter that Goodnight Poon Poon is meant to explore the deepest, darkest depths of humanity. What I'm saying is that despite that, there are elements within the manga that are quite entertaining and humorous in their own demented way. But even if Goodnight Poon Poon as a whole isn't funny or uplifting, so what? There's value in depressing art. Maybe it's not the best thing to consume 24/7, but just knowing that there are people across the globe struggling with the same shitty feelings that you do day to day may make you feel less alone. If you're struggling with depression and or suicidal thoughts, please seek professional help. But after you've achieved that, maybe give this manga a try. For better or worse, you might find yourself relating to it more than you might think, and it could give you the courage to talk about it more openly. Thanks for watching. I'll be tackling something a bit more lighthearted next time around, Komi Can't Communicate. So if that interests you, please subscribe to get notified when that video drops. Also, feel free to like and comment if there's any anime or manga in particular you'd like to see me do a deep dive on. Until next time, stay safe out there and love yourself.
Did I say you could come back?
Sorry, bro. I'll see you around.
God, I hope not.